are falling down in pieces by the couch of pain. Disorder in the house. Time to duck and cover.
It looks like we've managed to get a better line to Tom in Bromley. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Nick. It's me again. Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Much better.
Yeah, so I work in the hotels. I've been doing it for the last 5 years.
The hotels? What do you mean?
Yeah, with asylum seekers.
Oh, okay.
I work with them.
Right. In what capacity?
Well, I look after their GP appointments, their food, lunch, dinner. So when the asylum seekers arrive into this country, they go into hotels. And I just want to state to everyone that I work in them, they get their lunch, dinner, breakfast, all for free. Every month they get shampoo, razors, soap, women toiletries. They get £35 a week. They go to the shops. They get looked after so well. And in this country at the moment, we have people in this country that can't even afford a loaf of bread.
Right, so it's an either-or for you, is it?
Well, I think it's, what 80% of them can't even speak English.
80%?
Can't even speak English.
8 out of 10?
Yeah, can't even speak English. They are allowed out of the hotel now because of COVID. They come back drunk, bringing back prostitutes, single males. Police are called, ambulances.
How can you afford a prostitute on £35 a week?
No, they just bring them in.
How can you afford a prostitute on £35 a week, Tom? I mean, what are they paying them with? All this free shampoo they're getting?
Yeah, they get free shit.
You said that, and then they're going out and getting drunk. Okay, well, I don't know how you can get drunk on £35 a week. I guess you could get drunk once. I mean, beer's like £5-6 a pint. But prostitutes must be very cheap down your way, Tom.
No, they get their rooms cleaned every day. They get £24 a week.
I get it. They get food. I mean, better that they don't starve to death. They get things to wash with. Better that you have something to wash with. Okay, so far, so not so alarming. But they get £35 a week. Hard to know how you can really do much on £35 a week, particularly going out and getting drunk and bringing back prostitutes. How do they pay for the prostitutes?
Because you know why? Because they go out and find work. They go out and find work. And they get
right. Well, you didn't say that. So they find work. People who don't speak English manage to find work enough to be able to afford prostitutes.
Of course.
Of course.
I see it. I see it in my own eyes, Nick.
What do they do?
I see it in my own eyes.
Right, but what do they do for work?
Dig roads. Dig a hole.
They dig roads. Right, okay. Thanks, Tom. I believe you. Many wouldn't. Orpington. Hello, Luke.
Hello, Nick. Hi. I think largely I'm supportive of it. I'll tell you why. We must make the point that this is only for illegal men over the age of 18. It's not for women. It's not for children. It's not for old people, even if they do come illegally. So the first point is we're only talking about legal people. The other point is it's supposed to be a deterrent. It's not supposed to be sort of like the plan is not actually to send them there. The plan is that they don't come here in the first place. But the other point is that if you come here illegally and you're over 18 years old and you're a man, then, lo and behold, you'll probably go to Rwanda.
Yeah, but if you have no way of getting here legally, then the only way that you can get here is illegally.
So maybe that needs to be addressed. But why should we let people come over here illegally?
Right, again, if the only way that you can get here is illegally, then you can't get here legally.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would say, I do wonder why they're sending them, because largely they come from Muslim countries, it would seem. Perhaps it would be considered to send them to a Muslim country where they can fit in society-wise, because Rwanda is less than 10% Muslim. It's a Christian country, of course.
Well, people don't get in a boat.
Could be considered.
People don't get in a boat and go to the bar and order a cocktail and then have a nap on the way here. They have taken a trip that is so difficult and painful and dangerous that you and I can't even conceive of what it's been like for them to get here. So they're highly motivated to come here for some reason, mostly I would suspect because they have perhaps family members here. Now, they may have had all of their family killed in the place that they have come from. And so they have extended family members here, somewhere they can gain or glean some support, people who would give them a start in a new country. And our response to the relatively small numbers of people who actually make it here is to send them to the middle of Africa, and you're okay with that?
Rwanda actually has an economy which has grown by 12% last year, but GDP is 12%. The UK is minus 10%, minus 9%.
Well, that's an absolutely nonsense statistic, Luke. You must know that. If you've got £1 and it increases in value by 100%, you'll only have £2. If I have £1 million and it increases in value by 1%, I'll have considerably more than you.
But their economy is supposed to be offering potential jobs and things. It's kind of agriculture, therefore perhaps they can fit into that society quite quickly.
They don't want to go there, though, Luke. They tried to come here. If they wanted to go to Rwanda, they'd have gone there in the first place.
Yeah. As I say, I think they can consider sending them to a country maybe which suits their language, such as a Muslim country, perhaps.
Right. If they speak English?
If they speak English, well, I'm talking about their religion, because that's normally quite a big point.
There's a lot of Muslims in this country. They'd fit right in.
Yeah,
and they might not have any religious affiliation. What's that got to do with it?
The main point I'm saying is, look, we're talking about illegal men. We're not talking about children.
Yes, but we're only talking about illegal men because A, you have to be a young man to be able to survive the trip in the first place. Children and certainly wouldn't be able to make it in any great number. Be incredibly dangerous for them to do so. Women, ditto. You have to have a certain strength to be able to survive the trip in the first place. And the only reason that they're coming here illegally is because this government has stopped any legal way for them to get here. But thanks, Luke. Meanwhile, let's talk to a bloke in Chester. Hello, David.
Hi. Yeah, you're really good, you are. I listen to you most nights when you're on. Really good.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, just a quick one. What it is with the union strikes going to go on next week with all the trains. I think Labour should do a lot more as well, because their trade unions, they should look at over public there. If they want to help the British public, why don't they say anything and try and sort out all the strikes? Because a lot of them MPs, the top MPs, as Abbot said this week on Question Time, he said about a lot of the MPs with trade unions, they get paid up to £20,000 each off the trade unions.
Are you blaming the Labour Party for people striking for conditions that they find themselves in after 12 years of Conservative rule?
Well,
yes.
Well, no. Well. At the end of the day, Labour, we had a lot of problems with them, but with the trade unions, do we want all strikes back again in Britain? I don't think so, do we?
Is that the alternative to paying people a decent wage for their work and their time?
Well, have you ever looked at the average price of a train driver?
The price of a train driver?
What they're actually on per year?
Well, I know that some of them earn up to, say, 57,000, but that's not everybody that works for, in the train industry. Most of them are on sort of average wages, 30 to late 20s, early 30,000. I mean, some, like you say, well, you didn't say it, but you implied it, they're on, a decent amount, 50. So it's not like what an MP earns, for instance, but, it's not bad.
True. It's not bad, is it?
Right, but it's only at that rate because of the unions working on their behalf. The management wouldn't have given them that money.
No, but everyone gets pay rises when it's in good times.
Well, no, they don't. The chief executive officer will get a pay rise in good times or bad, but the workers won't get a pay rise automatically in good times. They have to ask for it.
Well, if you're in a proper union shop, usually 9 out of 10, you do get a pay rise mostly every year.
Exactly. Coincidence?
Union shop.
If you're in a union, yes.
If you're in a union.
Right.
But the problem is, why is union paying the MPs for Labour? Why are they getting £20,000 each? What's all that about?
Labour, all Labour MPs are not getting £20,000 from unions.
Well, all the top MPs are. Someone on your show the other day, and someone mentioned it to Andrew. Andrew, on a Sunday morning, he was told about someone came on, official, and said a lot of these MPs are getting up to £20,000 each.
Well, you've sort of watered down your story a little bit there. A lot of MPs are getting up to £20,000.
£20,000
is a different story to all MPs are getting 20,000, because up to clearly includes the figure 0.
But if you listen to Andrew, what he said, if you can find out what he actually said and
which Andrew? Which Andrew are we talking about?
On a Sunday, he used to play tennis years ago.
Andrew Castle?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. He had a call in from someone what was brought in from your show, and this lady said all about a lot of the MPs in Labour.
But who was this lady?
I'm not too sure. I didn't remember. But, no, she was official. Someone brought him in from your company.
Some random caller. Yeah.
No, it wasn't a random caller. It was official lady what was brought in.
But official of whom? Official of whom?
I'm not too sure. I forgot now.
Okay, well, that's excellent detail on that story there, David. You've got me convinced. It doesn't make any difference whether Labour MPs get paid 20,000 or 120,000 from various unions. I mean, if you want to look at how political parties are funded, look at the Conservative Party, who get most of their money from a very, very few number of fabulously rich people, as opposed to the Labour Party, which gets the majority of its money in small amounts from an enormous number of people. Now, which party do you think will be acting in the interests of the largest number of people? The one that gets all of its money from a very few very rich people, or the one that gets all of its money from a vast number of people who donate a small amount?
Or why does the money go to individual person? Like the money goes to Labour, its individual person gets a lump sum into their accounts.
Right.
That's
well, I don't know. I don't know who it is that said that, and neither do you, David. And I don't know what it is that they're talking about, and it wouldn't really make any difference one way or the other. But so back to your original point about blaming Labour for the problems that workers have and are facing after 12 years of Conservative Party rule. After what period of time of Conservative rule do they accept that things in this country have perhaps something to do with them rather than blaming everything on the Labour Party? Is it 15 years, 20, 100?
But do you listen to your show? Like a lot of your
do I listen to this show? No.
I know. A lot of them know are always.
I'm busy when this show is on.
Conservative, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're always bashing about Conservative.
Well, the Conservative Party has been in power for 12 years. Of course they are.
I think they're doing a good job. I think they're doing a good job.
Okay, explain good. What do you mean by good?
Well,
you think they're acting in an ethical way?
Well, I do myself.
You do?
I think,
what makes you say that, David?
Well, I think that the country's been running on really good economics with the interest rates being so low. And
the country is being run on good economics. We've got just about the worst economy in the G7 of all major economies. We had the worst crash during COVID of any major economy. We have the worst next couple of years by the predictions of all major economic groups that we're going to fare worse than any other major economy except for Russia. Which part of that sounds good?
Well, it all sounds like what you're saying is going to be gospel, but will it be? Because at the end of the day, everyone's going through bad economics at the moment through all the different countries.
Yeah, but not as bad as we are.
But look at the money Conservatives have paid out to keep a lot of these businesses all up and going.
They had absolutely no choice. every country in the world did the exact same thing. What every other country in the world did not do was to lose billions and billions and billions and billions of pounds to, well, we've got absolutely no idea. I mean, they sprayed tens of billions of pounds up the wall on a phone app that doesn't work. No other country in the world did that. No other country in the world, as far as I'm aware, spent billions of pounds on PPE equipment that didn't work or didn't arrive. No other country in the world that I'm aware of gave hundreds of millions of pounds to their friends and mates and relations. So I don't know which part of any of that sounds good to you, but I seem to be missing it, David. I'll just assume that you're a fan and everything they do is great as far as you're concerned. I love the pause after I said, do you think that they're acting in an ethical way, though, by the way? It was like falling off a cliff, that silence. Let's just nail that the economy is going really well compared to anywhere else. Just on the inflation rate. Here's a list of European countries and their respective inflation rates compared to ours. And we'll start with the lowest inflation rate first. Liechtenstein, wherever that is. Then Switzerland, the Faroe Islands, and then France. Now, we're talking about the lowest inflation rate, and we're starting with the lowest first, and then we're going higher as we go down the list, okay? I wonder where we are. Well, let's read on and find out. So, first of all, Liechtenstein, 2.4%. These are April's figures. The last for which I could get... well, April or May. The last months for which I could get these figures. So, smallest first, 2.4%, Liechtenstein, then Switzerland, then the Faroe Islands, then France. And we're going from smallest to largest in rate of inflation. So, from France, we go to Malta, then Finland, then Norway, then Sweden. Gosh, I wonder where we are on this list. Sweden, and then Albania, then Luxembourg, then Italy, then Denmark, Iceland, Ireland, Germany, Austria, Portugal, the Euro area in general, the European Union average, then Slovenia, then Spain, then the Netherlands, then Belgium, and then us. We're last! But that last guy that I was talking to, he is perfectly satisfied. He's absolutely sure he's made the right decision. And he's sticking to it. Liverpool, hello, Andrew.
Hello, good evening.
Evening.
I'd like to apologise to the Queen, really, for that disgraceful display of so-called...
Wait a minute, Andrew, back up. Your phone is dipping in and out. I heard like every other word. You'd like to do what for the Queen?
I'd like to apologise to the Queen for
right.
the so-called concert tonight.
No good?
I mean, 70 years. We've had Cliff Richard, who I heard you speak about before. We've had the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. We've had the 70s. We've had David Bowie. We can go on. Generation after generation.
Yeah.
Why didn't we just do it generationally? Why didn't we just get an act from each generation to reflect her reign? What? I mean, I love Diana Ross to bits, right? But what has she got to do with the Jubilee, for goodness sake?
Well, maybe the Queen likes Diana Ross. I mean, Diana Ross was in town. You want to use her if she's around.
So you tell me we couldn't have found... I mean, even Elton John couldn't be bothered turning up. We have to watch him on video. No.
Well, Elton John seems to be going through some sort of, health issue at the moment.
Okay, well, let's just wind it back. You talked about Cliff Richard. He could have represented the 50s. I'm sure there's people still around who could have represented the 60s. The Rolling Stones are still going. Paul McCartney could have done a little song.
It's getting them there, though. I'm sure the Rolling Stones have other things to do, as does Paul McCartney.
So you're telling me they wouldn't have made the effort to turn up on the biggest show in the world tonight?
Yeah, yes, Andrew.
So
yes, Andrew. I am telling you that. I mean, the Stones are on tour right now. Would they get on a plane to come back here from wherever it is they are in order to do one song on stage in front of Buckingham Palace? That's not going to happen. Paul McCartney's not going to happen either. I mean, I'm a bit surprised that Cliff Richard wasn't there, but maybe they just didn't ask him. So, was there anybody there that you actually liked?
Elbow was fantastic.
Elbow?
Yeah.
Right.
There was a bit of representation from the north of England for a change, yes.
Like
so
who?
Elbow were there.
Oh, Elbow, right.
Elbow.
Right.
Lee Mack was very good and said something totally inappropriate to embarrass the Prime Minister, but maybe that might light up the phone lines.
Right. Who's Lee Mack?
You don't know who Lee Mack is? Are you for real? Honestly?
No, I am a figment of your imagination. He's probably one of those people that appear on panel shows, am I right?
You know who Lee Mack is.
I really don't. Lee Mack. I know the name, but he's one of those panel show people, yes? Yes, yeah. I don't watch panel shows. Panel shows make me feel nervous, in much the same way as watching a play makes me feel nervous, or watching a comedian do, where they make it up on the spot, whatever that word is. There's another word I can't think of. What's wrong with me today? I'll take the first one in Waterloo. Hello, Maria.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, it's so nice to speak to you. Oh, I just wanted to share with you that my husband and I were scootering on his old Vespa.
My husband and I? You really are getting into the swing of things, aren't you?
I am, aren't I? And we're scootering past the Imperial War Museum, and they're just up the road from us. And there, in the car next to us, is Kate and William. And I made eye contact with William, and then before that there was Meghan and Harry. And we're not royalists, but we got really excited about it. It was really funny.
Well, let me ask you this. Upon eye contact, did Wills leave What's-It and get into your car?
No, I was on a Vespa.
A Vespa, right. A Vespa, right. Okay.
Pay attention.
Yeah, I will not on this show. All right, thanks a lot for that totally believable story, Maria. A poll has they asked people what they thought.
Oh, no.
A poll has found that the majority of people believe the royal family has risked reputational damage after Harry and Meghan attended the first day of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations.
What?
I mean, of all the people that were there and all the people that were sweating it out at home in the palace, the royal family risked reputational damage after letting Hazza and Sparkles near them. I think the ship of reputational damage has sailed and sunk. Yesterday, the Duchess of Sussex... Anyone? Anyone at all? Who's that? Oh, I'm sorry, time's up. It's Sparkles. Out of Hazza and Sparkles. She's the Duchess of Sussex. She joined her husband, Prince Hazza, and the royals, including but not limited to Wills and What's-It, to watch the Trooping of the Colour. Their appearance, a first official royal engagement in more than 2 years, ended months of speculation on whether they would attend the celebrations. Months in which the press has been whipping itself up into a frenzy about how they're going to destroy the royal family. Because destroying the royal family is the press's job, and they want everyone to know it. The press had written this up, them coming along for attending the celebrations as a traitorous act to hog the limelight. Of course, if they hadn't shown up, it would have been a traitorous act not to make the Queen's Jubilee, a special time for Her Majesty, seeing her grandchild and all. But them not coming to hog the limelight didn't stop the usual suspects writing stories to make it all about Harry and Meghan, and then blaming them both for getting lots of publicity. A poll yesterday found that Britons believe that Hazza and Sparkles attending is risking reputational damage to the royal family. You've got to be kidding me. I mean... presumably that was a question that they were led into, responding to that. It wasn't some vague question about what do you think will happen if Hazza and Sparkles show up. It was, do you think that reputational damage is being done by Yes or no? When people say yes. The poll conducted by One Poll, which is an organisation, found that 54% of the 2,000 Britons questioned believe that Hazard and Sparkles should have stayed away from the celebrations. But why? If you're focusing on two people watching the celebrations, then you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're supposed to be focusing on the celebrations. A further 58% said the couple should not be allowed to film Netflix content during the bank holiday weekend. Monday is fine. Friday and Saturday? No. That's right out. People were very clear about that. A third of those questions said issues and drama surrounding whether Hazard and Sparkles would appear have made the Platinum Jubilee celebrations less enjoyable. Oh, these people are nuts. What are you talking about? A third said issues and drama surrounding whether Harry and Meghan would appear have made the Platinum Jubilee celebrations less enjoyable. Really? How? I mean, apart from being cajoled into thinking that by the constant press coverage, which has told us that the celebrations will be ruined if Hazard and Sparkles show up. The poll also found that a high number of young adults do not feel patriotic or believe believe in the importance of the monarch. Yeah, well, we know that. We knew that. Old folks' obsessions. 77% of respondents believe that William will be a better king than his father, Prince Charles. Based on what? Based on not having heard him say much. 2/3 said the Queen was right to block Prince Andrew from making an appearance following his settlement with Virginia Giuffre. And then we had a smaller lineup at Buckingham Palace balcony. Well, it's probably on the verge of falling down. So there's that. The Queen decided she wanted to be accompanied only by, in inverted commas, working royals. I don't know quite what that means. Working royals to watch the fly past, and she focuses on those at the top of the line of succession. There was room on the balcony, apparently, for Prince Charles and Camilla, Prince Edward and Sophie, Countess of Wessex. Presumably that's the same person. Sophie is the Countess of Wessex. I've got no idea. Princess Anne, Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, Prince William and Kate, and their children, and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, whoever they are, and Princess Alexandra. That's the future of the monarchy in this country. Suck up all the pageantry now, people. Force yourself into a little flag waving and marvel at the bunting, because this is it. If the future is Prince Charles and Camilla, Prince Edward and Sophie, Countess of Wessex, Princess Anne and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, Prince William and Kate and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester and Princess Alexandra, then check your watch, because it's time up for the royal family. Dartford. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Nick again. Good evening.
Daniel.
Yeah. Can you hear me, yeah?
I can.
Yes, all right. My point is that this deportation point is completely wrong from my idea, which is I'm Eritrean, and then I know Eritreans, how they suffer it, how they arrive into here, which is, but sending them back to Rwanda is really, really immoral, which is the government of Rwanda itself. They are very corrupt. It's a life returning for Eritreans as well, to send them to where the evil government belongs in Eritrea, you know? And where they cross it from, they cross it from the sea, from France or Belgium, Holland, isn't it? So why the government couldn't control the sea, the border, whatever, the ocean or the sea, like what the Spanish government do, and then send them back to France?
Well, we can't. We can't send them back to France because we decided to leave the European Union. Here's irony on a stick underlined and in bold. When we were a member of the European Union, we could send people back to France. Those were the EU rules. Now we have decided not to be a part of the European Union or not. And how's that working out for us, by the way? Now we're not part of the EU, we can't send them back. We did that to ourselves. But apparently it's what the people voted for, curiously. Here's a call about the tube strike tomorrow, and this is Richard in Chiswick. Hello.
Good evening, Nick. I have to take issue with your last caller from, I think it's My London. On lots of different bases. For a start, when Sadiq Khan, after 2 years of TfL in 2018, TfL were already £1 billion in debt. There was no COVID then. They were £1 billion in debt in 2018. Right. When he took over, Crossrail was on time and within budget. 3.5 years late, and £6 billion.
Well, you can't possibly put that at Sadiq Khan's feet.
Well, he presides over TfL. He presides over TfL in the same way.
The problems with Crossrail have got absolutely nothing to do with the mayor of London. I mean, it was one of the most problematic and difficult.
Well, Dick, I won't get into that. TfL oversaw the Crossrail project. Sadiq Khan oversees TfL. Okay, there are over 120 people working at TfL executives that earn more than the Prime Minister. The bonuses and everything that's been paid to TfL staff for not delivering on transport projects, for not delivering Crossrail, for not delivering Crossrail 2.
Well, they have delivered Crossrail.
Well, no, they were getting budgets when they were late on Crossrail. It's been delivered now, but they were getting bonuses running into £500,000 back in 2 years ago when Crossrail hadn't been delivered. The fact of the matter is that TfL is badly run. It keeps blaming the government. But all these strikes, you've got train drivers that want to go on strike, £51,000 a year to drive driverless trains. The unions won't accept driverless trains. So we're paying drivers £51,000 who have just received an increase to drive driverless trains.
Well, they're not driverless trains, being as how they've got drivers.
No, they haven't got drivers. They don't need drivers. They don't need drivers.
Well, the argument from the unions is that they do need drivers for the safety of the passengers. I don't really want to get into all of that.
No,
so what is your take on this? I mean, are you part of a union? Are you part of the staff of the London Transport?
I'm part of a Londoner that is being held for ransom by a union when we were promised there would be no more strikes. London, has been urged to go back to work, and now we've been told we must work from home. This strike is unnecessary, it's unwarranted, it's unfair, and nothing seems to work in London anymore under this present, it's classic Labour mayorship.
Well, I have to take issue with that London Transport does work. It seems to work very well, actually. I think the public transport in London has to be some of the most complicated in the world. It's also the most extensive, and it seems to work pretty well most of the time. That there are strikes under a Labour mayoralty doesn't really reflect on the party of the mayor. That's more it's kind of out of his hands, and to blame him doesn't seem fair, really, any more than it was Boris Johnson's fault when they had strikes under his mayoralty. And blaming Sadiq Khan for the massive engineering problems that they had with Crossrail does seem a bit unfair. But thanks for that, Richard. Swansea, hello, Fred.
Hello, how you doing?
Fred.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Fred.
Oh, yeah. Can I just mention the fact, I wanted to talk about the show tonight, but I'm also going to comment on the fact that British people, England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, have always been, and I was born in 1943,
yeah,
1978, have always been a pretty zany sort of a population.
Zany?
Zany, meaning like anywhere you want to be.
You mean zany as in wacky?
Yeah, wacky.
I think that's incorrect in every respect. I don't think that we're zany. I think we're buttoned up, reserved, constipated, overly polite. Zany, that's not us.
Zany to me means something like, we are a race unto ourselves, put it that way. We're not.
Right,
We
so
come from a,
it
we
has
come
nothing to do with being zany, then?
Okay, perhaps I used the wrong word, but the meaning to me is much the same. But
Do you mean kooky?
kooky, strange, different.
Right. Okay.
You know,
well, you certainly are, Fred. No doubt about that. But what's your point?
Well, my point was the show tonight. You know, at the Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
What seems to me more about the pop artists creating interest in their own songs rather than having a tribute to the Queen.
Right. But was it actually supposed to be a tribute to the Queen, or was it just supposed to be entertainment for the Queen? If it probably failed on both counts, according to the reports that I've had on this show. I didn't see a single second of it, so I have no idea, but I'm vaguely aware of the lineup. Elbow, which I have zero interest in. That band, the Queen, without Freddie Mercury. Like I said before, I wasn't really interested in Queen with Freddie Mercury, and definitely not without. Other than that, Diana Ross, of course. You can't complain about Diana Ross. Surely you can't complain about Diana Ross, Fred.
No, I love Diana Ross. I was born in an era. I love Paul Robeson, Old Man River, and all that sort of stuff. Al Jolson and all that sort of stuff.
Of course, who doesn't? You can like the old stuff and the new stuff too, you know.
Pardon?
Absolutely. You want to check out that extensive Elbow back catalogue. I've got no idea, but you definitely got homework to do there, Fred. Thanks a lot, mate. Brixton, hello, Delroy.
Morning, Nick. Yeah, I'd just like to throw into the mix. I mean, I think for those of us out here, and there are millions of us who are disabled and are on fixed income, so that's the aspect I'm coming at this from. We're on fixed incomes. Our cost of living is exactly the same. Our cost to, heating, eating, food, all that stuff, all the same. Now, to a driver who's on 50x thousand pounds, that is good money. We're living on sub 15 grand a year out here. I mean, in the real world, And for me to hear this, I mean, I really haven't got much sympathy, Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the real world that you're talking about is the world that they are living in as well, and they're subject to 10% inflation and the cost of fuel and all of that. And that you are on less money than them does not mean that they are on too much money.
It means that in the old social contract, social justice equation, if they're going for anything above what we're getting, 3.1%, then either we all get 10% or we all get 3.1%.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, though, Delroy. I mean, that's the specific purpose of a union in order to maximise the benefit of their members. I don't really get that argument that some people earn less, like nurses earn less than a train driver. That means that a train driver is earning too much. No, it doesn't. That means that a nurse is earning too little. And perhaps the reason for that is postal workers or care workers, particularly care workers. And the reason for that is perhaps that they don't have a strong union and they don't have the kind of bargaining power that the RMT enjoy. It's not that the trained people are earning too much, it's that everybody else is earning too little. Gloucester, Dion.
Hello there, Nick.
Yes, Dion.
Glad to hear that your trip to Madrid went well.
Yes, it was super fantastic. It was 2 days and 3 nights.
Fabulous.
A break.
Just for tonic. I wanted to call in to say that for people who are a little tired of the pomp and splendour and the kind of expected viewing of the Jubilee and Boris Johnson hanging on the coattails of Her Majesty to improve his own image.
Compulsory bunting, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. There was an interesting story of Johnny Depp visiting an animal sanctuary in Kent.
Oh, yes.
And there was an image of him holding a badger aloft.
A badger aloft? Yes.
Yeah. I just
is that wise? Probably not. I mean, a badger could bite your face off if it wanted to.
Oh, I'm sure it was a regulated environment.
Well, was it a stunned badger? Was that badger on drugs, for instance?
Want to score some pot
to keep it calm? Because if Johnny Depp was holding me, I don't think I'd be calm.
Well, no, certainly not. But I suppose the badger isn't aware of his its history and the
Well,
details of the
I guess so. Yeah. A badger hasn't seen any of those pirate films. I saw one. That was plenty enough for me.
Boring.
Awful.
Well, yeah. But I do think the badger really represents something of the British spirit. I mean, badgers are very proud of their homes.
Yeah.
They're regarded to be very fierce, but they can also be gentle.
Right.
You know, they're quite bland colours. Red, black, white.
Yeah, wash once a month, whether they need it or not. That sort of thing.
Flannel grey.
Yeah. OK, well, you've given it a lot of thought, Dion. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. That was borderline listener with material.
Oh, no.
I think we got away with it. Here is St Helens. Hello, Val.
Hi, hon.
Val.
Are we on air now?
Well, I am.
I think Donald Trump is off his box.
Yes.
I love Boris Johnson and I have faith in him.
Do you? To do what?
With the war in Ukraine, I think he's doing his very best there.
Are you kidding?
No.
You think that we should leave him alone? He's doing his best?
Yes.
Right. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
No.
Oh, you came up with that yourself? Leave him alone, he's doing his best.
No, I think he is, honestly.
Right. I actually think he's doing his best as well, which is really alarming, considering how abysmal he is at his job.
Well, I'm 75 years old.
You are 75 years old.
Yeah.
You made it.
You're taking a mick now.
No, me? No. On this show? Pff, I don't think so. But I felt that an oath was was on the way.
Warning, warning.
So I'm using the instinct that I have honed over these past years to shut that conversation right down. But I certainly do appreciate the call, Val. He's doing his... Is this you doing your best, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Blah, blah, blah. I'll assume that the answer is yes. Alarmingly, yes, he is doing his best. This is it. This is it, people. This is all we can expect.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, except he's not going. That's the problem part. Not going, staying exactly where he is. They haven't found a window large enough to defenestrate him. The search goes on. Here's a call in Red Hill. Hello, Nigel.
Oh, hello, Nick. I've got some material for you.
Oh,
no. It's to stop stopping Mr. Putin with his war. I imagine Mr. President picking up something. Who's this goddamn lamb? He thinks he could have got pennies.
Oh, no, we've run out of time on that call. Gosh, I hate it when that happens. Very, very sad. It was a listener with material, everyone.
Oh, no.
Western Supermare. Hello, Anne.
Hello.
Anne.
Hello.
Yes, Anne.
Hello. Yeah, no, I don't think this is going to be solved by, all this sort of striking and everything else. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I had to be part of the union at one point because of the job I had, and it doesn't work. I'm sorry.
It doesn't work. What?
No.
What it?
Union. Well, they don't do anything for ordinary people.
Well, they do. They work on behalf of their members, surely.
Yeah. Well, I had to be, and no, they don't. They don't do, and they do things for themselves.
What, by themselves? By themselves, you mean the people that they represent? Well, yeah, of course, that's what their job is.
Yeah, but they don't do anything for me.
Well, and are you a member of a union anymore?
Sorry?
Are you a member of a union anymore?
I'm retired now.
Right, so you're not a member of a union?
No.
No, so you're saying that unions don't do anything for you, not being a member of a union. Well, right. Yeah, okay, I'm not really following your logic there, but, okay. Pembroke, South Wales. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Nick.
Tim.
Just have to say, loving the show. Took a while, but I'm there now.
Ah, where?
With you.
Aha.
Now then, I started off with the whole Brexit thing, but we've moved on now.
Yeah.
Now I'm into the Harry thing. I mean, we never gave Princess Margaret a hard time. If someone needs to get a hard time, Andrew needs to get a hard time.
Well, yeah.
I just don't get why he's getting a hard time.
Well, I do.
He's just living his life.
Well,
right?
that's exactly it. He's not leading his life according to the script that has been written for him.
Yeah, but he's like so weighed down on the script. He's like Princess Margaret.
Not really. No, the press were relying on him and Sparkles to create some sort of glamour. That's what they really want. They wanted somebody to fit into the place that is vacant in their lives that was left by Princess Di. They wanted another one of those. And because Sparkles is already famous and is, she's an actress and has got this sort of aura around her, that's what they wanted. And you twin her with Hazza, and there's interest there. Whereas, Wills might be a decent sort, but he's very boring. You can't really sell many magazines.
Very boring.
You can't sell many magazines with him on the front. And that's what the press wanted. They want somebody to sell stuff for them. And Hazza up sticks and left. And that's what they're disappointed about. Furiously angry, actually.
Yeah, but he's always been a little mad, right?
Mad? Really?
I mean, he's always been like, just...
Yeah, well, he was describing himself in builder's language.
Disgusting.
Yeah. What he means is that Harry acted like a normal kid when he was a kid. It's just abnormally, he had the entire world's press staring at him while he was doing it. Who wouldn't want to get out of that if you could? Wills is a bit stuck because he can't. And I do feel, as much as you can feel sorry for somebody who's worth £1 billion, but I do feel a little bit sorry for him because it's, it's on him now. It's all going to come down on his watch, and I bet that is really, he's coming to realise that. Oh, well, there's nothing you can do about it, really, but just carry on. Let's have a call from Woodbridge. One moment, please. Martin.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I am great, mate.
It's been a strange day today. It's been like the Twilight Zone, hasn't it?
Has it?
Just watching all the stuff going on with the Queen and stuff, and especially the Bon Sang de Jory and her arriving. And then we had this
the Bon Sang de... What? Hang on, back up. Whoa.
Slurping champagne.
Hang on a minute. Whoa. The Bon Sang de what?
Bon Sang de Jory.
Who's that?
It's Boris Johnson. It's a wordplay.
Is it?
Yes.
Bon Sang de Jory. Boris... Really?
Bon Sang de Jory.
Yeah. And what does that mean?
It's Boris Johnson in a sort of wordplay in French.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was like a French joke.
It just sounds funny, doesn't it?
Well, it does when you say it. Yeah.
Thank you, Rose. So we had Pretty in Pink, looking like Humpty Dumpty, and then my MP turned up wearing a blue dress and this pink hat that just looked like he'd been sort of dumped on her head.
He'd been? Oh, it had been.
She.
Right. Okay. Okay, well, that's an interesting insight there, Martin. You paint us a beautiful picture. Groovy. It sounded like a listener with material to me.
Oh, no.
Kidderminster. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Nick. And thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for making your call.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks for putting me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, God, thank you. Oh, bless you. What it was, I just wanted to know what Bodger was doing about these so-called 43 hospitals. Was it 43, Nick? You might be able to...
40. I think there are 40 new hospitals, but a new hospital is created, technically speaking, when you open a box of plasters. That does constitute a new hospital.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I always wondered that one, you see, and I was listening to it with very eager ears.
Yeah.
Ears there.
I can understand that, yeah.
And that one
Eager
after a few sherbets. Sorry about that one, Nick.
Right. Okay, well, next time you have a few sherbets, you make that first call to somebody else.
Booze.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Richard. Bristol. Hello, Jenny.
Hi.
Jenny.
Hi. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Jenny.
I would just like to say that have we forgotten what happened with Lady Di?
With Princess Di? No.
I think we have.
I don't think so.
I absolutely do think we have.
I remember it very well. I bet most people do.
Okay. And
But what's your point?
My point is that the Queen, to me, I have a huge amount of reverence for. She has not put a step wrong apart from when Lady Di died.
Right.
I remember it well.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I remember it well. But the reverence she now gives to Camilla and Camilla's role in the demise of that relationship, even EastEnders.
What?
Linda, hang on a minute.
EastEnders?
Linda Carter. Yeah. Linda Carter was a huge Lady Di fan.
Who's Linda Carter?
Nick Carter's wife.
Who's Nick Carter?
Do you not watch EastEnders?
I've never watched a whole episode of EastEnders, ever.
Okay.
I've never watched a whole episode of Coronation Street, either. That's probably breaking some sort of law.
Let me inform you that Linda Carter was a huge Lady Di fan.
I see.
And there was a huge Thursday episode where Camilla and Prince Charles came to the East
Are you
End.
talking about the one that just happened, where they showed up?
Yeah, they
Right.
showed up.
Yeah.
And there's Linda Carter bowing and whatever.
I have no idea who that is. But anyway.
Yeah. But it basically, it just...
It rubbed you up the wrong way, apparently. Yeah. Right. Okay, well, relax, Jenny. It's just a TV show. Tunbridge. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Nick. It's going to be a trade. All of these people that are coming in illegally, we pick the best and we keep them, obviously. But the ones that we don't want...
Best?
Well, so the engineer that you described from Syria, do you think that we're going to be sending him to Rwanda? I mean, we may do for strategic reasons. It's about global trade. This is an issue of Parliament. It's a parliamentary decision.
It's not about global trade unless we're talking about trading people.
We're not trading people. We are making deals. Parliament makes deals. They say that these people can come in here for strategic reasons, and we're going to put these people here for strategic reasons. Now, if you're coming here and you're coming here in a way that is illegal, i.e. is not accepted by Parliament, then you're ours to put wherever you want. So we stick them in Rwanda. We take some Rwandans from Central Africa. We could go to South Africa now with what's going on there, and they come here. So you turning around and saying that we're not going to get the people in is a fallacy. People want to be here. There is money here, and they want to come here. And quite frankly, people breaking into your house, you don't give them a tenancy. You don't give them a share in the ownership of the house. You kick them out. And that's the right answer. It's a good move. I don't understand why you're going down this, but lawyers are crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah, you kind of are, yeah. What's it got to do with breaking into your house? This is a country, it's not a house, Stephen. That's a completely fallacious argument, as you probably know. I mean, I hope you know that. Let's have East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, quick technical one. Bread is good for birds.
No, it isn't.
It is.
It isn't.
Birds eat grain. Bread is pre-digested grain. We've just cooked it for them. There is nothing wrong with feeding birds bread.
Incorrect. I bet that's wrong in every... How do you know? You're guessing.
No. How do I know this? Because there was a RSPB thing on this. And if you feed ducks too much dry bread, it can cause them a problem. But as long as they can wet it, then it's absolutely fine. And they were saying, don't feed ducks bread, throw it into the water. Because once it's in the water, it's great for them. It does them no harm. And what is bread made of? It's made of wheat. And all we do is pre-digest it for them by cooking it.
Oh, well,
It's not a problem.
yeah, well, maybe we could actually eat it and then throw it up into their little mouths. East Sussex, Maxine.
Hello, my love.
Oh, my God, you're loud.
I know you always say that. Now, look, I've got to tell you. Right, now, you know I always phone you up when I've got something going on. With me baby pigeons, me hedgehogs, and me frogs.
Baby pigeons. You haven't got baby pigeons, have you?
Squabs, yeah, you don't like them, do you?
The ugliest things that
They're not ugly.
have ever been invented. Look them up on the World Wide Web, but gird yourself before you do it, ladies and gentlemen, because you would not wait a minute. You would not believe how ugly baby pigeons are. I mean, they take ugly to the next level. I'm not talking about EastEnders ugly. I'm talking about way uglier than that.
They're not ugly. You know they're not. Look,
horrible looking things.
No, they're not. Look, they've been nesting in my tree. Now, I've got to tell you what I've got now. Now, I had a couple of blue tits, right, that were nesting in my box, right, in my garden. Now, I know you're going to start laughing. I know you are.
No.
Because you always blaming laugh when I phone you.
Right, got a couple of blue tits nesting in your box, yes.
Right, now, you know, well, it's been advertised on the news that there's 120 million new wasps coming over.
Eh?
I don't like wasps.
What do you mean? Coming over from where? Coming from where?
I don't know where they're coming from, but we're getting 120 million wasps coming over.
Coming over from where?
I don't know where they're coming from. I don't listen to the news that much. Anyway.
Well, that's a very specific number. 120 million?
Yeah, new wasps.
Have we got room for 120 million new wasps?
Well, I don't know. We can fit everyone else in, so we can fit them in and all.
I think we're full.
Yeah, well, we might be full, but I don't like wasps. But guess what's happened? Anyway, in my garden, right, I've got this shed, and I've got this ivy growing all over my shed. And I went out there to do a bit of gardening the other day on my day off, you know, when I get a day off. And guess what I've got?
You know what? We'll never know because we've just run out of time. Isn't that sad? The build-up took too long. We never got to the actual it of it. Oh well. Northern Tory MPs today made a series of demands of ministers, including but not limited to tax cuts, more local powers and extra cash, when they gathered for the Red Wall conference in the absence of His Imperial Bodgeness.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Who was busy trying to glad hand people that don't know him very well. I haven't formed a negative opinion yet. Or perhaps have, and are just, guying him along for whatever they can get out of him. Why not? At their inaugural conference in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, the Northern Research Group, they're all research groups, these people. What's that about? What are you researching exactly? The 80-strong Northern Research Group of Conservative MPs put pressure on the PM and the Chancellor Fishy Sunak to deliver on their levelling up agenda amidst the cost of living crisis. You don't buy that levelling up stuff, do you? At their inaugural conference in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, NRG Chair Jake Berry unveiled the group's mini manifesto. Oh, great. Another Tory manifesto. The one surefire way of knowing what the Tories are not going to do is to read their manifesto telling you what they are going to do. So here's their little scheme about what it is that they're pretending they're going to do. They call for greater devolution of powers to local areas. They won't get that. Including the right to lower taxes. They won't get that. The scrapping of central house building targets. Ain't going to get that. The creation of 2 Vauxbridge vocational institutions in the north to rival Oxford and Cambridge universities. Well, they aren't going to get that. Not their Oxbridge masters. They aren't going to let that happen. Jake Berry also questioned why the Treasury was creating a new northern campus in Darlington when the whole Whitehall department could move to the north instead and have a smaller London campus. Well, they ain't going to get that either. Fishy Sunak doesn't want to work in Darlington. Mr. Twinkle-Toes billionaire, I bet the sat-nav in his car would commit suicide rather than take him to Darlington. The PM had been due to address MPs at the Northern Research Group conference, but instead ran away to somewhere they haven't figured out that he can't be trusted yet. Because they've got other things on their minds. You know, they're busy, what with being in a war and all. Oh, what a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
The PM had been due to address them, but did his usual. His appearance in Doncaster would have been an opportunity for him to build bridges with Tory MPs after his battering in a no-confidence vote earlier this month. But as people in London will tell you, Boris Johnson doesn't build bridges. It's another one of those I'm gonners. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Right. How's that bridge coming along, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Following the Tories' success in Labour's so-called Red Wall areas at the 2019 general election, the Northern Research Group. There's always something sinister about any these groups. They always call themselves the Research Group. Don't you find that a little bit sinister? And they're always the same people as well. Although I bet not the Northern Research Group. I mean, they may have the same, core backing of people, but I would imagine that they don't actually go to the north. They just lend their support. Those eyeing a future in Conservative leadership are said to trying to woo the group ahead of any contest, which is, probably another reason that Bodge didn't want to go there. Northern Tory MP Jake Berry warned that it would be a mistake to see the decision by former Labour voters to switch to the Tories in Red Wall areas as a permanent change. Well, you can't fool all of the people all of the time. But they only have to fool 44% of the people enough of the time to get back in. But he's trying to fool the poor by telling them that the way out of their misery is to lower taxes. This, it's not just Jake Berry who's insisting on lowering taxes. That seems to be his thing. Lower taxes, and then the poor will be happy. No, it won't make the slightest bit of difference. In fact, it'll probably make their life worse. I mean, I couldn't go through the numbers. I can do mental arithmetic on the air.
Oh, no.
And I'll work it out for you, how tax cuts only benefit the rich. But it is the refrain, and that's what they're trying to persuade you. That if they just cut taxes just a little bit, which of course they'll do immediately before the next general election, they've said the quiet part out loud. Fishy Sunak actually said that. You're not supposed to say it, Suni. You're supposed to do it, not say it. You ain't supposed to tell us the plan. But when they do that, it will affect almost all of us, almost in no way whatsoever. It won't improve our lives at all. If you're rich, though, big money, huge. Isleworth, Ravi.
Yes, Nick, how are you?
I am great, mate.
Firstly, let me give you my investigation. I went out 9:30 to put some petrol in, local garage, and as I was going in, the price was going up on the board. It increased from 188 to 192. I can only unleaded.
Wait a minute. Wait. Back up. 192.
Yes, unleaded.
Wow. I've seen 180 something, but I haven't seen 190 anything yet. Not yet.
I can only assume it's the weekend. They're making fools of us.
Well,
and Mick,
more specifically, Ravi, they're making a fool of you.
You're right, Mick. Another thing is, Mick, have you seen the people on the news? They kind of interview people in the petrol station, and they ask them, what are you doing here and how much you're filling up. And they fill up the tank, and they've got a smirk on their face, and then they say, oh, we can't cope, but they're laughing. I find that strange. Now, have you seen their interviews on the news when the people turn up at the petrol station?
Yeah, in the way that you just described it. No, I haven't, Ravi. I've got no idea what you're talking about now. They have a smirk on their face and they say they're not going to go. What are you on about?
Like, you know, when the news people
turn up at the petrol station and they ask the people what are they doing, they say, I'm filling up my car. What do you mean, what am I doing?
Yeah, and they're saying, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
And they're laughing all the way.
Ha, ha,
and
ha, ha.
Nick, I mean, when was the last time you filled up your tank?
While laughing? Never.
Yeah.
I never find it funny. Maybe that's just me. Thanks a lot, Ravi, for whatever that was. And we're off to a great start. Streatham. Hello, Penny.
Oh, hi there, Nick.
Penny.
I just wanted to... Hi. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Go ahead.
Jolly good. I just wanted to sort of make a comment on the fact that you talked about people in queues for having a hot meal.
Yes.
Homeless people who have suddenly found themselves in need of this hot meal.
Right.
But you use the term to describe those that are normally in those queues as undeserving.
No, I didn't.
What did you say?
I didn't make any comparison between people who are or are not usually in those queues. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, okay. So what you said was that these queues are very normal. People were waiting patiently, and that they looked as though they'd never been in a queue before.
No,
and
I didn't.
No,
I didn't. Why would I say that? How would I know whether people had been in a queue before? What a bizarre thing to say.
So listening to you, Nick,
Penny, you haven't been listening very carefully, have you? Because you've got two things, obviously, that are very that are irritating you greatly about things that I didn't say. Twice you've made that mistake. So I understand that you've called in to complain, but Penny, you've called in to complain about something that I didn't say. Orpington, Gavin.
Hi, Nick. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
I thoroughly, on the contrast of a lot of your callers, I thoroughly enjoyed the party.
You did? Finally,
I did.
Finally, we found someone.
Very much so, and quite frankly, mate, I think when we put a spectacle and a celebration, and we beat the best of the world. Quite frankly,
we beat the best of the world.
Yeah.
What does that
we
mean?
do.
Like who, for instance?
Everyone, USA. You name it. But
Are you all right? Do you have a persistent cough?
Having a little bit of a cough. There was only one particular person
a bum note,
missed,
right? Who was it?
Big occasion, and that's Whitney Houston. Yeah,
Whitney Houston.
Yeah,
Whitney Houston is unavailable.
Yeah, I know, but sadly missed. With tracks like "Miss You Like Crazy" and everything else, but whatnot. But
okay, please don't sing them for us.
No, I won't. Definitely not. No. The voice is in that up to it at 56 years old plus.
Right. Okay. So an unsolicited testimonial. He liked it a lot. Apart from that whole Whitney Houston issue. All right. Glad to hear it, Gavin. I knew that if I stuck around long enough, somebody would say something positive about it. It's been moaning all night long. I didn't like this and I didn't like that, and moan.
Stop whining.
Yeah, it's a free show, people. It's people complaining about something they didn't pay for and didn't have to watch. Greenford, hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, I think it could be going back to the 70s with the 4-day week and, Labour isn't working, but I think the unions do have a point that they are getting shortchanged, and I think they've probably got a right to strike, but it's going to have a knock-on effect, and that's no good.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the knock-on effect is the point. That's the whole idea of removing your labour. If nobody noticed that you had gone on strike, then that wouldn't really do you any good. It's causing the maximum amount of inconvenience, if you want to use that word. That is the point of this, and it certainly will, because they're doing every other day. But the days in between, which is supposedly not strike days, they're going to be affected as well, because presumably trains will be in the wrong place, and etc. and so on. So it's going to be all week long, and we will be affected by it one way or the other, even if we don't actually travel the trains ourselves. So what are your thoughts? Thanks, Paul. But first, let's deal with His Majesty. Oh, I can't bear it. I tell you what, they're worth £80 million a year, just to have to stand there and take that for about 20 times a day. How do they manage it? The Prince of Wales has privately described the government's policy to send migrants to Rwanda as appalling. He said, Prince Charles is said to be particularly frustrated at Bodger Johnson's asylum policy, as he is due to represent Her Majesty the Queen at the bloomin' Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali. Wherever that is. It's the capital of Rwanda. Wherever that is. I bet you couldn't pinpoint it on a map. I bet you got absolutely no idea where it is. Betcha, betcha, betcha. I'll bet £5. Migrants who arrive in Britain illegally face being deported to Rwanda, more than 4,000 miles away, under a deal struck by Priti Patel, the Home Secretary. A source heard Charles, 73... Is he really? 73 years old. He expressed opposition to the policy several times in private. He said he was particularly uncomfortable about it. He said he was more than disappointed at the policy. He's not disappointed. He's angry. It's clear he was not impressed with the government's direction of travel, said a source. Yeah, well, I would have thought that neither is the saintly Queen, because they're both human beings and not angular, tetchy humanoids like Dominic Deckchair Raab.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory. I don't support the Human Rights Act, and I don't believe in economic and social rights. My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
Yeah, I believe you. I believed you the first time. Do you remember what the Queen wore when she opened Parliament in 2017? A hat that was the spitting image of the EU flag, blue with yellow star-like flowers on it. You remember that? I think that was a message. I mean, they tried to play it down afterwards, saying it was a complete coincidence. I mean, Her Majesty's got 3 million hats. Could have been any one of them. Right. And then providing the text of Bodger's speech at her Jubilee celebration in St Paul's, getting him to read a lesson about humility and integrity. Yeah, good one, Your Majesty. Bet that one went down like a lead balloon, eh, Bodge? Yes. Oh, but they're not allowed to, express an opinion. Well, what's the point of the monarchy if it's not allowed to express an opinion on matters like this? I mean, is it really just to wave and cut ribbons? We could get robots to do that.
Affirmative.
The High Court ruling about Rwanda came despite the UN's refugee agency backing calls to halt the flight. See, the government is saying, oh, well, there's nothing to see here because the UN refugee people, they're fully on board with us, giving us the big thumbs up. And the UN refugee people said, it's got nothing to do with us. What are you talking about, dear? We've been opposing this from the very start. The government is pretending, for the few people that still believe a word they say, that this policy is crucial in deterring channel crossings. How's that going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, because it's been a pretty famous policy for a while now, and the channel crossings are going up, not down. It's almost as though you can't believe a word they say. Liar! Almost. More than 10,000 migrants have crossed this year, a figure that wasn't reached until August last year. It's going up, not down. Another Brexit bonus. So here's your Brexit bonus. More foreigners. It's almost as though they were lying about all of it just to get your votes. Are you beginning to feel like you've been had? A government spokesman said, our world-leading... What is it with these people? And everything that they do has got to be world-leading, world-beating. It's the best. I'll tell you what it is. It's Trumpism.
Oh, shut up!
Everything he did was the world's best. Nobody ever saw such a great thing. You remember? Everybody says so. Everything I do is fantastic. Everybody says that. I'm president.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
No, we're still trying to get used to it. Still trying to get used to that brief aberration that we all went through. The whole world went through that brief aberration. If aliens from space had come down and asked to get sent to our leader, we would have had to introduce them to him.
Bing bong.
Exactly. It would have not only been the end of the human race, they'd have probably wiped out the entire planet just because they thought we were being sarcastic. A government spokesman said, our world-leading partnership with Rwanda. What does that even mean? As though they think that they can just say this stuff over and over again and people will nod sagely and go, oh, yeah, that's right. World-leading. Yeah, it's a world-leading partnership. No partnership in history has ever been as good as this. It leads the world. Our world-leading partnership with Rwanda. I mean, it seems that the entire purpose of the government, apart from to keep Bodge in power, is to come up with nonsense phrases like this, or three-word slogans. He's done this to this country in about 2.5 years flat. How did you do it, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
This used to be a country that meant something. Had a place in the world. Wasn't an international blooming laughingstock with bad hair. And bad teeth, by the way. I mean, for crying out loud, is there a dentist in Westminster? Your help is urgently required. A government spokesman said, our world-leading partnership with Rwanda will see those making dangerous, unnecessary, illegal journeys to the UK relocated there to have their claims considered and rebuild their lives. Anybody want to rebuild their life in Rwanda?
No.
How about people in Rwanda who are trying to escape? Where would we send them? They'll still have to make that dangerous journey. Because the very, very few numbers of people that come from Syria and wherever else it might be, Afghanistan and, all places north, south, east and west, fleeing unimaginable horrors, the likes of which we can't even contemplate, to get here and think that this might be their saviour, that, they might have members of a family here, the few members of their family that are still alive. In the country that they came from, they watched their mother, father, sister and brother get blown to bits. So they think, well, maybe I should leave now. I'll go to where the people are nice. I'll go to Great Britain. Well, people used to be nice, but a change happened a little while ago. And so they have taken away, this government has taken away all of the legal ways in which they might arrive here, and then said, you can't come here illegally, making it impossible to come here legally. Cute, eh? The legal routes to claim asylum have been dismantled, so the government says they must arrive legally, and they've made it impossible for anyone to do so. Rwanda is a fundamentally safe and secure country, a government spokesmodel said, with a record of supporting asylum seekers, and we are confident the agreement is fully compliant with all national and international law. Yeah, sure they are. Confident, are they? Is this the same Rwanda that is in an escalating deadly dispute with its neighbour, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which had them firing rockets at each other that killed children and flattened a school and terrified the locals this week? Or is that a completely different Rwanda? Maybe there's two of them. It doesn't really matter. It's not about people. It's not about safety. It's not about deterring people smugglers. Do me a favour. It's about pretending there's an upside to the Brexit we were lied to about, and which is damaging the country and everyone in it who hasn't got their assets registered in a tax haven. It's about winning the next election and clinging on to power at any cost. And what for? To push through their detailed agenda? They don't have one, outside of keeping Bodger in power in number 10. That's what this government seems to exist for. Is this, Bodge, what you had in mind when, as a sticky-fingered little schoolboy, you thought that you were going to be the leader of the world?
I can't comment on that.
So the Times asked their readers, was Prince Charles right to express his opinion? And of those that expressed an opinion, 68% said
yes.
68%. Sounds like a winning number to me. 32% said no. And the 32% shout louder than the 68%. So it's a no. Riddell, Nigel.
Hello, Nick.
Nigel.
Nigel.
Yes, Nigel.
Speaking. I'd like to know, I'm on a small amount of stored solar energy, right? And could you convert nanometers in light to imperial nanoyards?
I most certainly can. Yeah, any time you like. As soon as you, the moment you need that converted, I want you to let me know straight away. I'll have a full report on your desk first thing in the morning. Is that it?
No. So 200 nanometers would be what in nanoyards?
362. I think you'll find that's right. I'm like a machine. Thanks a lot, Nigel, for whatever that was. Northern Greece. Hello, Harry.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for allowing me to come to your show.
Harry.
Once again. Yeah. Two things. One is about these people going to Rwanda. I think the people who come with no documents and they have thrown their documents away are more likely to be economic migrants rather than the real refugees.
Really?
Because
but
the real refugees
if your
will
house,
maintain their papers.
But if you were in Syria, say, and your house had just been blown up, would you go back into the burning building to collect your documents, or would you just get out of there?
Yeah, I think, I can see your point, sir. I definitely can see your point. But on the other hand, this could be a deterrent for the people to pay thousands of pounds to come here when they know that they are not likely to be accommodated as well as previously they have been.
When you say here,
say
when you say here, you're talking about Greece?
It's UK. In UK, sir.
Right.
Yeah, not in Greece, no.
Right. Okay. So so I kind of missed your point because I was too concentrating on where you were talking about when you said here. What? Say that again.
What I meant was that if they realize that they are going to be sent to Rwanda rather than being accommodated in UK, then they will think twice, risking their life and their money to come here.
Yeah, but if they...
Would that not be a possibility?
Well, apparently not, because we've already got 10,000 people who have arrived by illegal means in this country, which I think it took another couple of months to reach that figure last year. The numbers are going up, while the government has also been, widely publicising this potential policy. So the threat of it has had, if you really want to join one to the other, has had the opposite effect. Has had absolutely no effect whatsoever. How are people who are fleeing a burning home in Syria, for instance, and then taking a life-threatening trip, seeing death all around them, losing their family perhaps at home, and going to the only family that they have on earth in this country? I mean, let's assume the extreme, just for the sake of conversation. How are they going to, in mid-ocean, think, well, maybe I should pick another country? I mean, which one? It hasn't worked so far. It seems incredibly unlikely to work in the future. I seriously doubt whether the government is actually intending for it to work outside of getting a few headlines in the first week, which will be job done. And then in subsequent weeks, there'll be some other outrage for us to concentrate on. It's the Donald Trumpization of politics in this country. It's just one distraction event after the next. Hemel Hempstead. Hello, Charles.
Hello. Yeah, I'd just like to say that I'm 63 years old, ex-union man, union steward, and an ex-Labour voter, but I won't vote for anybody anymore. I've had enough. Yeah.
You won't vote for anybody anymore?
No, I've really had enough. Yeah.
Well, what on earth does that mean? How is that helping you not voting for anybody?
because the Labour Party does not stick up for the British working man. Yeah, you were here. I'll prove this to you. You name one strike that has actually helped in the last 30 or 40 years.
Charles, I'm sorry, mate. I've got absolutely no patience at all with people who refuse to vote, whose opinion is that they are all the same. No, they're not all the same. Pick one and do your duty. Just do your duty to yourself, never mind about the country. There is a party for you, Charles. There's one that is the least bad option. Pick one. Hull. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Nick. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
I feel a bit sorry, actually, mate, for some of these people ringing. Yeah, I do, mate. I feel sorry for some of these people ringing in who say, you know, I mean, there's a guy last night who rang in who said something like, what have we got to thank the Queen for? You know, why should we do that? You know, comparing her to his mother, and I just feel sorry for people.
Comparing her to his mother?
I feel sorry for him. Yeah, he was saying, you know, I respect my mother.
Right.
She was washing all every day. She washed my clothes, but I don't respect the Queen and things. I just feel sorry for him.
To be fair, Tim, the Queen has never washed his clothes. That's true.
Right, and this is what I'm saying, Nick. I find it quite amusing, the depth, or the, how can I put it, the shallow-mindedness of comparing issues like that to what is essentially a representation of what we are. I mean, look
Tim. I've got warning bells ringing in my mind.
Warning!
You sound like a listener with material to me. Is there a punchline coming? Do you want to get to the end of it?
No, all I was going. I was just going to say that, you know, if we look for a lot of, in terms of where we are with people who want to dissolve the monarchy, and we're looking at Oliver Cromwell, for example. Well, you know, I was going to say, do you know what they did with him after a few years?
They made a statue of him. It's still outside the Houses of Parliament.
No, mate. They exhumed him. They split his body up, and then they reinstated Charles II.
Right.
Now,
well, who wouldn't want that? Really? That's how far you're going back, Tim. You to pick a fight. I can't be bothered. I know that must be very deflating for you, Tim, having waited for so long to have a fight. But you know, I've got other things on my mind. Coventry. Hello, Karen.
Hi. Yes. I was just listening to the gentleman beforehand, and I think it's ridiculous to give free school meals to children whose parents are financially in a position where they are able to provide a free school meal. What I do think would be a better idea is for the government to bring cooking back into schools.
To bring what, sorry?
To bring cooking.
Oh, cooking.
Home ec.
Right.
What we used to call as home ec years ago.
Yeah.
And you used to actually teach them how to cook a proper meal from scratch.
Does that not happen in schools now?
No, it doesn't. My daughter, my eldest daughter, she did home ec. She had to do one meal and it was a fruit salad.
Right, so no cooking involved.
No cooking involved whatsoever. But if you were to bring in actual proper cooking, home ec cooking, in that lesson you could teach how to balance how to run a household budget.
Mm.
You know, you could alleviate so much. You could alleviate diabetes, heart disease, because children would be able. They've got the ability to cook themselves a proper meal from scratch.
Right, these are life
level up.
Right, life skills are what you're talking about. But some people might think that that's the sort of thing that a parent should be teaching their child.
Well, back in the day, years ago, when your mum didn't go to work full time, then yes, that is, you know, probably something that a parent should do. Mm. But at the end of the day, most parents these days are working full time, both parents. Most kids, a lot of kids, end up going into after school clubs. They go in the morning, they go in the evenings, because parents are working, because they're working their butts off trying to pay for the cost of living.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you were to actually, you know, bring in proper cooking, you would be able, you could change so much.
Right, and I mean, there are
in
other
this
life
country.
skills. There are other life skills that also should probably be taught at school, like how to balance your, well, it used to be called a checkbook. Nobody uses that anymore.
Exactly,
But how not to go
balance.
under, into massive debt, how to sort of budget and all of the rest of it, which would make a difference. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But on the issue of only those that need it the most getting free school meals, what do you think about the fact that it would make those who are from poorer parents stick out a bit at school?
I don't think it notices, to be honest. I don't think that you're called out of a line. I don't think there's anything that sort of says, oh, the people that have free school meals, they go first. You all just bundle in together, as far as I am aware.
Kids would know, though. Kids would know.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would, to
But
be honest.
how would you identify, then, yourself as a child if you're presenting yourself for a free school meal as opposed to those that are paying?
I don't think most children, especially younger children, would be aware that they are on a free school meal.
Oh, I bet they would. I mean, kids like nothing more than bullying those that stick out in some way. That's just what kids are. I think there might be an issue there. But thanks for that, Karen. Battersea, there's a bloke called Brian. Brian.
Hello?
Yes, Brian.
Yeah, back in the worst place of the world.
Brian, could you get a little bit closer to the phone? I mean, come into the same room as it would be a good idea.
No, can you hear me now?
There you are.
I don't know about Enfield.
What?
Back the worst place in the world.
Worst place in the god-awful place, Enfield.
Yeah, my friend died about 5 years ago.
In
5,
Enfield?
6 years ago. No, he died in Battersea, but he was originally from Enfield.
Right.
He supported Tottenham. We went out there in a coach. We hired a coach. There was about 30, 40 of us. And there was no one there. There's big wide pavements.
Yeah.
Big wide streets.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't a car going there. Couldn't see anybody there. After the funeral, I went in got back in the coach. Well, better get back. Posted, stopped there, get a couple of beers. I bought 2 cans of beer.
Couple of beers.
Booze.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was no one in the shop.
Well, that sounds like a great place. Big wide streets and no one on them. Terrific.
There was no one there, no cars. No
well, that doesn't sound god-awful to me, Brian. That sounds like heaven on earth.
I know.
Yeah. Not to your taste, though.
I took the 2 beers and I got on the coach. All shouting at me, Brian, we're going, get on the coach.
Right.
And I thought, God, I could clean that shop out.
Well, that certainly is a riveting story. Thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enfield, off his list, on mine. That sounds great. Big wide roads and nobody on them. You know, like in the good old days. Leipzig. Hello, Andy.
Yeah, hi Nick, hi. Nice, very interesting conversations there. I'm sure that your heart's in the right place, but I think you need to get some facts straight. First of all, for the million, as you put the figure, people from Eastern Europe or whatever that left the UK, if you're a Syrian engineer, you don't want to go and serve tables in a restaurant in Devon. So the idea that you can sort of replace like for like, I think you need to sort of rethink that.
I don't know what you mean.
Secondly,
what do you mean, like for like?
Well, you're talking about a million EU people being kicked out, and therefore there's all these refugees coming in. And
no, the one does not lead to the other. They're two separate.
So you can't replace the EU jobs, picking turnips and serving tables in Devon's hotels in Devon with refugees coming from Burkina Faso or burning buildings in Syria.
Why?
Because if you're an engineer from Syria, you don't want to wait tables in a hotel in Devon.
Where are all these engineers from Syria that you keep speaking of?
Well, you're assuming that every kind of Eastern European job can be replaced by somebody from a war-torn zone that's coming in on a dinghy.
I think my assumption, which seems like pretty reasonable, really. I mean, if somebody's made that trip, then they want to work, then they'll do what work is available. Mine seems more believable than yours, which appears to be that everyone from Syria is an engineer. That specifically has insisted that they don't want to wait tables in Devon. I don't know what you're talking about, Andy. Liverpool. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Nick.
Mark.
I feel a bit as if the things we've talked about since I first rang in about ducks.
Right, it's okay. We can go backwards and forwards and sideways. Don't make never mind.
We've talked about Ukraine and stuff like that.
All sorts. Yeah.
But the reason why I rang in was because where you said about what ducks can eat.
What ducks can eat? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the sound effects. Appreciate that. And and only yesterday we were in Alton Towers, and there was lots of ducks, and they were coming over to us, and we were feeding them Pringles.
Pringles.
And my kids were there feeding them Pringles, and the other kids there were coming over feeding Pringles.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Pringles weren't a good food source for ducks.
Well, it depends. What flavour were they?
Barbecue.
Oh, well, then that's fine. Ducks love a barbecue.
No, they don't. But it turns out they don't like Pringles. And it also turns out that ducks don't like bread. Like, so they like bread, but it's not good for them.
No.
And what do a lot of us do on we take our children down to the canal or to wherever, to the lake, and we feed our we go, let's all feed the ducks, and we throw bread to them.
Yeah.
But they don't like it, it's not good for them.
Well, feed your kids bread. Just throw bread on the floor and your kids will pick it up and eat it, and they'll love it. Sell it to them like it's a game.
But it turns out they don't like bread and they don't like Pringles.
They don't like Pringles. Well, good thing too, because once they start, they can't stop. That's what I heard. Don't want to get them started. Reading. Obeyed.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Basically, it's too much to the story. I mean, I had a chance to work closely with some of the immigrants. I mean, I would agree and disagree with some points. I mean, there is economic point of view as well. I mean, people do come for economic reasons. And, I mean, majority of them
why does everybody think that that's a bad thing? Like, people get up and go to work for economic reasons.
Coming as by illegal ways. That's the bad thing. I mean,
only if there are legal ways to get here. But I fail to understand why people have a block on those coming here for economic reasons. I mean, surely that's actually what we want. We all get up and go to work for economic reasons. That's what makes the economy tick round, is people getting up and going to work for economic reasons. We need people to do jobs for economic reasons. Pay. There's an enormous number of jobs that used to get done by Eastern Europeans, mostly, in this country, that aren't getting done anymore, to the detriment of the services industry on which we depend, the food industry on which we depend for our food security. I mean, just those two things for a start. Like hundreds of thousands of jobs in each of those industries are not being done, with the result that the companies that used to make large profits on the benefits of that work, they're not making those profits anymore. We've got companies that are going out of business for want of hiring people to do those jobs that we Brits don't want to do. Why would we push people away who want to come here for economic reasons? That doesn't make any sense at all. But I hear that so many times. It defies... None of this is logical. It all defies logic. It also defies the legality. which the government has admitted, essentially, by refusing to publish the legal advice that it has been given. It's against people's human rights, which the UN Human Rights Commission has stated very clearly. So what's it for? Other than to please a few number of the government's fans, to keep them on side while distracting them from the lack of the apparent arrival of any of the benefits from Brexit that they were promised. Other than that, I can't think what it's for. And if we're still talking about this next year, if they are actually still sending flights out of this country in large numbers this time next year, then I'll tell you what, I'll eat your hat. Tadworth. Hello, Leslie.
Hello, good evening.
Leslie.
This is going to blow things out of the bag. I used to do this job in a school.
Which job?
Free school meals.
Okay. Well, you mean you were a dinner person?
Yeah, I was a data manager.
What's that mean?
So basically, I used to do all the data, so free school meals, pupil premium.
Are you there? Or has your brain seized? She's just gone. She hung up on herself. Tadworth, Leslie. I was just talking to you.
Yeah, I'm back again.
Yes, there you are. Right.
Yeah. Right, so as I was saying, no child knows that they've got free school meals because no cash is brought into the school. It's all done online. So it feeds all kitchens.
What is it with phone lines tonight, Leslie? I don't know.
Am I cut off again?
Not quite, no, almost. You almost faded away. Go ahead.
So if you get free school meals, the government also gives the school something called pupil premium, which is an extra £1,900 a year per child that gets free school meals.
Right, and what do they do with that?
So that's for things like school trips, maybe a laptop, after school clubs. So there is a lot attached to free school meals.
Right, it doesn't sound like you're going to get much change from, how much was it?
Change from what, £1,900 extra a year?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you get much change with a laptop and trips and meals.
No, it's part of levelling up to so that it's called Close the Gap between the rich and the poor. So if you gave it to everyone, free school meals, how would they attach the pupil? I've got children. Okay, I work.
Well, how do they determine who gets a free school meal? They would use that method to determine how many of those extra amounts that you describe, which is news to me, but I'll take your word for it. That's the way in which they could determine that. The same way that they determine who gets a free school meal, surely. How can you make a meal for £2.41? How can you make a meal this year with 15% food inflation by giving 3% increase on the amount that they can spend on the meal? It just doesn't make sense. Not to me. Exeter. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. It's lovely talking to you. I've spoken to you before about light-hearted matters. I'm the guy that said that Boris Johnson was like the alien and we should blow him out the airlock.
Right. Well, we could nuke the entire site. Or we could blast off and nuke the entire site from space. It's the only way to be sure. Yeah. Hampton. Hello, Matthew.
How you doing? All right, Nick?
Yes, good, thanks.
And also your lovely lady producer.
What's that?
Your lovely lady producer, always polite and nice.
Is she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Always the please and the thank yous?
Thank you. Yeah, well, basically, I just wanted to say that the guy you're on about from Queen, performing Queen songs
Yeah.
was Abbot, by the way.
Right, okay. Well, whoever he is, I'm not interested.
Right, okay, fair enough. But anyway, getting on to what I said to the young lady was, I mean, most of the stuff on the show was, in my opinion, well, the concert, as it were, was quite dated.
Quite what?
Quite dated.
Spell it?
Quite dated.
Oh, right, okay. VAPID?
Well, I mean, where was the Spice Girls or Westlife?
Spice Girls.
Well, I mean,
Really? You missed the appearance of you bemoaned the absence of the Spice Girls, really?
Well, I mean, they're a big band, weren't they?
A band? Not really. No, not what I would call a band. I really, really, really want a Zig a Zig Ah. Yeah. That's what you missed?
Well, I mean, they made some good music in their time as well.
I'm surprised that Cliff Richard didn't show.
Yeah, but that would be dated again, wouldn't it?
It was what? There's either something wrong with your phone, Matthew, or there's something about the way you're using it.
Can you hear me now?
No?
Well, I mean, Cliff Richard, I mean, how dated would that be?
Are you saying vapid again?
Sorry, am I saying what?
Are you saying VAPID?
Hold on 1 second, Nick. Sorry.
Yeah,
mate.
okay. I'll put you on hold. Oh, time's up. But thanks for that call for whatever it was about. Cheers, Matthew. Appreciate it. Stockton-on-Tees. Hello, AJ.
Well, hiya, Nick. Thanks for having us.
AJ.
I've been listening to you talking about the EU and economics and how great it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd put in an EU economics point. Nick, it's been 10 years since the Greek people were crushed under the blitzkrieg of German bank. And
Wait, back up. It's been 10 years since what?
The Greek people were crushed under the blitzkrieg of German banks.
The Greek people were crushed under the blitzkrieg of German banks. Is that what you just said?
Aye.
Okay.
They forced into austerity.
Blitzkrieg, right.
Aye. It's because they were Germans. It was just tongue in cheek.
Yeah, still living in the Second World War. I get it.
It seems like he's not bothered.
Well, we had like 8 years of austerity. What did we do to deserve that?
We were in the EU.
No. Try again.
I don't know, Nick.
Well, who was in charge during those years of austerity?
Who's in charge?
Yeah. Can you think? Can you remember who was in charge when during those years of austerity? It wasn't a blitzkrieg, mind you. It was pretty bad.
God knows who was in charge, Nick.
We're still trying to recover that. You can't think of who was in charge?
I never bothered with politics before the
right.
referendum.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice try, AJ. 0345 6060 973. Stop watching the History Channel. It's not doing you any favours. Broadsword calling Danny Boy. Broadsword calling Danny Boy. Come in, Danny Boy. Over. Wakefield. Hello, Paul.
Hi, Nick. Nice to chat to you.
Paul.
And the slant that I want to put about this is I'm actually blind. And so, obviously, when I'm travelling around, and I do travel by rail, if there's no staff on a station, that makes it extremely difficult for me to get about.
Right.
And as well, I firmly support the workers because although I'm blind, I haven't been blind all my life. And before I went blind, I was actually a guard on the Underground in London on the Metropolitan Circle line.
Oh yeah.
Well,
no such position exists now, of course. And we were told, I do recall at the time, that we were told that you can't get rid of the guards on the tube because of safety reasons. And they did get rid of the guards on the tube, and no safety implications came about.
Well, luckily, I would say on that one.
Oh, come on, it's been time enough. It's not luck. Luck is over a short period of time. I think we'd have known by now.
Yeah, when you've got two people on a train, if something goes wrong with one of those people, you had a guard who was actually trained to drive the train and would take the train to the next station to allow
it's decades since there's been a guard at the back of a tube train, and no safety implications have come to pass. But thanks for that, Paul. Walsall, Mick.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Is my phone coming over okay?
What?
Is my phone coming over okay? It's all right. You've just been complaining about people's phones. I've just knocked mine off speaker.
Complaining?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to go on about these dinghies. This is the French plan. Get rid of the ones that they want. If the French are helping them cross our channel, I'll eat hay with the donkeys. Because, I mean, how the hell do you carry a massive dinghy down to a beach without anyone seeing you?
Oh, come off. The beach is hundreds of miles long.
Yeah, I know, but there's still people walking dogs and all sorts, same as in this country. Can't see a beach without someone being on it.
What, night and day?
Well, mostly in the day, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I still think the French are up to no good. They never liked us much.
Well, with good reason. The French take way more asylum seekers than we do.
No, I don't think it's anything to do with that. They don't like us because we live.
No, that's not why they don't like us. They don't like us because our politicians keep picking stupid fights with them. But the French take way more refugees than we do in this country.
It's a lot bigger country, though. It's got a lot more places to put it. I'm often wondering what's
It's got about the same number of people. I mean, where do they go? They don't get stuck out in the middle of a forest somewhere. They go to towns. They live in towns which are just as populated as our towns.
Yeah, but like I said, in the end, if they keep coming across the way they are, you're going to run out of places to put them. They'll be knocking on my door, asking me to put one up.
Oh, really? We're full?
You are.
Is that your opinion, Mick? We're full? Right. Okay, we got like 1.3 million jobs that need doing. There's 1.3 million open vacancies in this country. Partly, I would suggest, because we yelled at foreigners to get out of our country for about 5 years. And they did, which was very unreasonable of them. Unpatriotic, actually. We screamed at them to get out of our country, and eventually they did. And all of the people that were saying, hey, well, you know what, maybe we shouldn't get them to go away because we actually need them to do all those jobs that we don't want to do. Well, got to find out that Project Fear was, in fact, Project Fact, which is two uses of the word fact in the same sentence, which is an error. Never mind, we'll edit it out later. Greenford, hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, I think will a general election be called? Because I think the Wets, the Euro Remainers MPs, nearly got him out at the no confidence vote. But
the Wets. You mean people with a backbone? Those people?
Yeah. But have you tried Primal Scream for that mixture in the 90s? They crossed rock with dance, but
yeah, they did. Yeah, Andy Weatherall. Andy Weatherall was the one that made them dance. I think that they were rock, and then Andy Weatherall came along and did the. What do you want? Well, we just want to have a good time. That one.
And do you like The Shining? Do you like the Kubrick films? Talking about movies, do you like the Kubrick movies?
Yeah, who doesn't? Well, let me ask you this, Paul. Do you like the Kubrick movies?
I do.
Of course. All right, well, on that moment of rare agreement, we will part. And we will go our separate ways.
Bye-bye.
Nice talking to you, Paul. Last weekend, I was driving back from home, minding my own affairs. And it looked like somebody just thrown rubbish in the road up ahead. You know, it was dark, and I wasn't. Yeah, I was driving along, not really expecting very much, but trying desperately to get out of Streatham as quickly as possible, while while maintaining my speed under the prescribed limit. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And there was this pile of something in the road up ahead, and I thought, well, I'd better not run over it, because you never know what's in it, right? It could be a bag of nails. And so I swerved around it and realised that it wasn't a bag of rubbish. It was an actual person who was lying flat out in the middle of the road. Not long ways, like across the road. So you would have to actually go to the other side of the road into oncoming traffic in order to avoid him. And he was just lying there, you know, minding his minding his business, just having a relax. And so everybody except me, of course, just drove by. Muggins here stopped in order to perhaps do the right thing. I mean, the person that was tailgating me all the way through Streatham, the moron behind me, he stopped behind me because he was so close that it was difficult for him to swerve around. You know, one of those people. And he saw me looking back to what I'd almost run over and checked that I was going to do something, and he sped off, of course. So I'm there on my own, in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night, with a bloke lying across the entire carriageway. And so I get out, and thinking that this is the ideal sort of little scheme that somebody who wants to nick a car would do. You know, get one of their mates to lie in the middle of the road. Some mug like me would come along, bounce out of their car with, with the concern for another human being, and they'd leap in and drive off. So I used my brain. And I put my hazards on and locked the doors. Smart thinking, yes? And I went over to this bloke, and he was sparked out. And I didn't want to touch him, right? Because, you just don't know, do you? And so I stood over him, and I yelled at him. I yelled at him, "Get out of the road, you idiot!" Or, words to that effect. In fact, those might have been the exact words. And he lifted his head off the tarmac and sort of looked in my vague direction. And with having exhausted himself with the effort of lifting his head up, he thought, oh, well, that's all I'm doing. And he put his head back down and he closed his eyes again. And so I decided to yell at him a little louder. "Get over to the pavement, you idiot. You're going to get run over. You'll die if you don't move." Yelling at him. And he eventually did. He sort of, I think the "you'll die if you don't move" line triggered to something inside what was left of his brain cells, and he decided to pull himself over to the curb and then try and get up on the pavement. But, the pavement was about 6 inches high, and he couldn't manage it. Could not manage to roll himself off the road onto the pavement. And so I'm acting like the Sergeant Major in Full Metal Jacket. Except not so funny. And at the moment that I was yelling at him to go on, just roll up it and onto the pavement, a police person in a car appeared out of nowhere and pulled up. And I said, "Is it okay if I go?" Thinking he's going to think that I've run him over. But apparently it wasn't a coincidence that he was there. He had been alerted by a considerate citizen who had obviously just left him in the road and decided that the best thing for him to do is to, call it in, not to actually, hands-on save a life. So I did it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Isleworth. Hello, Ravi.
Hi there, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Nick, is it fair to say that these drivers are more than policemen, but the policemen can never go on strike because of their contract? I really think these left-wing unions are taking us all for a ride because they're earning more than the people on... They're earning more than the people on the average wage.
Well, the only reason, the reason perhaps that they're earning more than people on average wage is because they're members of a union. Well, that's what the union is for.
No, I think it's a very dangerous thing. I think I'm absolutely behind Boris. I think that if you don't put a curb on these unions, they could actually destroy the economy. Other people
could destroy the economy by getting a good wage and
they are already on a good wage, Nick. 51,000 plus for sitting in. Many of them are overweight. They just sit there, pull the lever.
Ravi, there's a lot of overweight people in this country. It doesn't have much to do with what job they do. There's a lot of overweight police officers, so explain that.
I can explain that. They are earning more, let's say, than policemen. Policemen do a much more... Okay, look at bus drivers. Bus drivers do a much harder job than these drivers. Bus drivers not going on strike. Police and nurses not going on strike. I mean, they just giving them...
As you've already described, the police are unable to go on strike. As far as that, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
And nurses may be going on strike because the British Medical Association is the latest union to warn that it's going to go on strike unless its pay demands are met. And the fact that train drivers earn more than a police officer or a nurse, of course, that does not mean to say that the train drivers are earning too much. That rather implies to me that nurses and police officers are earning too little. And perhaps that they are earning a small amount of money because they don't have a union that is quite as active and as good for its members as the RMT. I mean, it's not a coincidence. The one leads to the other. If you join a union, then your rights are magnified. If you're just there on your own, ask, please, sir, may I have some more? Then the answer will be no. Grays in Essex. Suki.
Hello, hi.
There you are.
Hi. Hi, sorry, I didn't know that you were going to speak to me. Thank you.
I am speaking to you.
Okay.
Do you want me to put you back on hold?
No, I'm in hospital right now.
Yes.
Heavily medicated. But I really wanted to speak with you. So
you're heavily medicated?
Yes.
Right. And they gave you a phone. Go on. I believe you.
Well,
Go ahead.
Phone, so I'm allowed a phone. However,
it's very quiet in that hospital.
Well, it's night time right now, so yeah, it is.
Should you be making a noise at night in a hospital? In this pretend hospital that you just made up? This isn't actually what you called about, was it? Not what's on my screen, anyway. Where did the hospital part come in? Is that something you thought up while you were waiting?
No, because I am actually with the NHS right now.
You're with the NHS? What does that mean?
In terms of, I'm in an NHS hospital. I'm president hospital.
Yeah.
However, I can't take a private hospital because I'm in between jobs right now, but I've paid thousands and thousands because I earn a lot of money every year normally, but I don't see any, and my wife is a nurse, and we're both being screwed over, and I don't see the benefits of this, and even if I wanted to use private medical insurance, I still have to go through NHS first, which wastes thousands of money.
Right, thousands of money. Yeah, okay. Look, you're not really making any sense, Suki, but it's probably because you're heavily medicated. Thanks a lot for whatever that was. I have no idea. It's not what was on my screen, but never mind.